Hey everyone, it's Ashley, and today I'm going to be doing a very quick Monster Halloween card. And I was starting to wrap my son's present. We get him something small every year for Halloween, and I realized I didn't have a Halloween card yet. So I had just recently bought this Lawn Fawn stamp called Monster Mash, and I really liked it because I have a nephew and a son, and it looked to be a boyish stamp, but you could definitely color them pink and purple and yellow and make it more girly. But I'm going to be using 3 of the images, and this is the card that I came up with to do for his Halloween. And it is where the monsters burst out of the paper. And I got this idea from Pinterest, and it says at the bottom, created for Lawn Fawn by Elena, and it's either Ruskis. I am so sorry, I'm butchering your name, but I loved the way she had the burst out, and I just decided to take that and go with it. I think hers is a 1 layer, but I always do several pieces, and I wanted to add googly eyes. So that was my inspiration, and I'm going to just go ahead and start with these 3 monsters, and my first colors are going to be YG13 and YG25, and he's 8 years old, so he's not going to care if they're really colored well with a lot of shading. So I'm just going to keep it simple and just do very minimum coloring. So I'm going to just do that, and then I go in with my darker shade. Again, very, very simple coloring, and then I'll just bring back in that YG13 and blend it back out. And I do have this sped up a little, so I wish I colored that fast in real time, but I have this fast forwarding a little fast. And I'm still getting used to my new thing, but I'm loving my new camera. I can zoom in really, really fast and like a lot closer. Okay, so my next one I'm going to do are oranges, and it's going to be yellow red 12 and yellow red 15. So YR12 and YR15. And I'm just coloring this blob one, the orange color. And again, I'm just going to do just a little shading at the bottom with my YR15. Okay, and then the next one I'm going to be doing is, I think of him as like a little bat, but the little flying guy, and that one I'm going to color purple, so V12 and V15. And I apologize, my nails aren't done. I think they're still dirty from my painting and watercoloring I did earlier in the day, but I had no clue I was going to do this quick video, so bear with me, I promise. I do usually clean up before my videos. Okay, so I'm just going to do the V12 and V15. Again, just bring in that darker color and just bring it in at the bottom. Just to keep it consistent with the others. And then I did go ahead and buy the die for this one since the monsters are smaller and it would take a little bit of time to fussy cut. So I will be running, oh I'm sorry, and then I take N5 and I color his mouth just so it looks more dimensional in there. Okay, so then I'll be using my Cuttlebug and cutting them out. And because I'm lazy and I haven't snipped them properly, I can only do 2 of them at once. The little metal thing gets in the way of the third one. So that's why I have to run it through twice. And then I noticed something wasn't lined up right. It just wasn't working with me today. I think just because I was trying to hurry and make this into a card. He was home at the time and he pops in all the time in my craft room, which I love, but I didn't want him to see his card yet, so I was trying to do it, and there's where I couldn't do it at the same time. So I'm going to be cutting out the little flying one. And then once I have all those pieces out, it's going to be time to put the card together, and I'm using Neenah 120 pound Solar White cardstock, And my card is going to be a 5.5 by 5.5 inch square. And I'm using the Teflon bone folder. That was my splurge at a stamp show that Simon Says Stamp was at, and you know, it was like $26, but I do love it. I really do love it. Okay, and the paper I'm going to be using is from the Doodlebug Booze and Brews collection. I believe this is their newest one. Yes, 2016. So, for example, the plaid is called Weird Science. And let's see. The stripe is called Spooky Spiders. And then I'm just going to be taking some black cardstock, and I realized that piece wasn't big enough once I actually start tearing. So I make it a little bit bigger, and that's just, I actually wanted cheaper black cardstock, so that's just something from like a local big box store. I didn't want it to be too thick and heavy so that I could tear it easier. And I didn't know how to really do this, so I just started cutting like an X in my paper and then made it into like a cross. And I'm just going to start tearing it. I really liked how Elena had made them look like they were busting out of the paper, being monsters. So I just took it a little further. I think I'd do a lot more than she did, and then I'm doing it in black cardstock. So what I'm basically doing is taking those, tearing it, and then tearing them in half, and if I need more, I just start cutting, and I just basically go. It's gonna look like a mess, but it actually turned out really cute on the card, but when you're doing it, you just think it looks like a big mess. And I'm gonna glue some of the extra Nina cardstock behind it, just so that the monsters have a base to sit on and they wouldn't be on that orange stripe. And then I take just a pen and I start rolling the edges. But then I noticed that they just all looked too uniform. So what I do is I rip off the pointy triangles on most of the sheets of paper so that they just don't look so uniform. And then I didn't want my monsters just floating in space, so I took that same N5 and I just did a very fast base for them. And it was easy to do because you could peel back that paper to make sure you get down in the grooves. And that's just so they have something to stand on. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this onto my card. I was having trouble rolling it. It was getting stuck since there was extra adhesive. And then here's where I'm rolling it, and then I decide to do more of that ripping, where I rip off the pointy ends, and so that it lays flatter on the card. And the next thing to do is just to put on the monsters. And I want them to kind of pop up, so I put some foam adhesive on the backs of them. This is such a cute stamp set. I really, really enjoy it. The other, I don't know if you could read it real fast, but the other sentiments say, "Have a beautiful day, sending you monster hugs, and the I think you're neat." So I really liked the sentiments that came with it too. And then it comes with like a party hat, a heart, and a bow tie to add to the monster images. And then I'm just going to take some green cardstock and use that sentiment that I think you're neat, and I'm just going to cut off the ends to make a banner. And then I'll just glue that on using an adhesive. And I'm sorry, I'm out of frame there for a second. Okay, and then when I was at Michael's, I found in the craft area all these googly eyes that are brightly colored. So there's the green, the purple, and orange, and it matched perfectly to this Doodlebug collection. So when you go to these stores, don't forget to check the kids' craft areas. I have found wood veneer pieces and all these googly eyes where, you know, if they were in the scrapbooking area, they would cost a lot more. But because they were marketed as kids' crafts and they're usually on sale, I was able to get these for only, I think, like $2, or maybe even less than that. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. I did lay them out beforehand. I made a card previous like this. I like to make an extra one, and at the end I just did it going, and at the end it was kind of not evenly spaced, and I just kind of did a pattern, and they do move inside, so they are like real googly eyes. And then I'll be taking, and I think I'm off camera for this one, but I'll be taking two of the really large ones, and I'll be putting them on each side of the "I think you're neat" sentiment that I stamped. Which you'll see in a second. And then I'm going to be doing the inside of the card. I always try to use my scraps just to finish the inside. I think it makes it look a little nicer. And most of the time I don't need to cut anything additional. I can use scraps. So I'm just layering in those pieces again, and then I take a Happy Halloween stamp that I've had for years from Inkadinkado, stamp it up with black ink, and just put that inside. And then I always stamp a handmade stamp on the back. Okay, so then I'm pretty much done with the card, but if you know me, I like sparkles and anything shimmery, and he's still only 8, so it's still cool for me to embellish everything. So I went ahead and I just put on the Spectrum Noir clear overlay, and it makes it super shiny. I think at the end I get it kind of a close-up to where you can really see it, but it looks really cool. So I do that, and then for the orange guy's eye, I use the Irresistible, which is kind of like a thinner glossy accents but has shimmer in it. And to tell you the truth, you really can't see it too much in real life, but I just went ahead and did that for a step further. And then here is where I'm going to try, oh yeah, you can see the sparkle. So that is what the monsters look like. Well, thank you so much for watching, and again, I'm sorry it's such a quicker video and kind of all over the place, but this is a bonus video. And again, thank you for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more. Happy Halloween!